What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. This is the 2019 Miami Dolphins season preview. Let's start with the coaching changes. They bring in Brian Flores from the New England Patriots. He was pretty much the defensive coordinator over there. He's worked with the secondary and the linebackers for years there in New England, so they're going with the Patriot protege. All the Patriot coordinators always get these head coaching jobs, and not too often does it work out. But the Dolphins are going with Brian Flores, hoping that he can get it done. Um, Reminds me of the Matt Patricia hiring by the Lions last year. Just a Patriot disciple going that way. He also brings in offensive coordinator Chad O'Shea with him, who was the Patriots wide receiver coach for 9 or 10 years. If I didn't look that up, I wouldn't have a damn clue who Chad O'Shea is. Also, Patrick Graham, who's going to be the defensive coordinator. Not sure who he is either. Worked with the Packers last year, but so the Dolphins, really, the only name that I recognize is Brian Flores on the coaching staff. So a lot's going to be on his plate. In 2019, many people looking at 2019 for the Dolphins as a tank season. There's been the talk of tank for Tua, or they might be looking at Herbert, that guy out of Oregon, that quarterback, Justin Herbert. So, but they were able to make a trade to get Josh Rosen in the draft. They traded, got Josh Rosen away from the Cardinals after they took Kyler Murray. It's really a win-win because they didn't have to give up much. They gave up a second and a fifth-round pick to get Josh Rosen. You bring him in to compete with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jake Rudock, but really it's just a two-man competition between Rosen and Fitzpatrick. And so far, early indications are that the job is Fitzpatrick's. He's been outplaying Rosen, so it's a win-win, but you also kind of hope to see more out of Josh Rosen. He was drafted high by the Cardinals, didn't look great last year. I wasn't sold on him coming out of college, out of UCLA, but the Cardinals took him, traded up to draft him. Didn't really do much last year. Now the Dolphins, a year later, have traded for him. They're throwing him in a quarterback competition. If Josh Rosen's really a franchise quarterback, then he's got to win this quarterback competition. Because we all know Fitzpatrick is a journeyman. He's not a franchise quarterback. So he's a solid, backup or solid fill-in guy, but he's not consistent enough to be a full-time starter for a franchise and to get him into the playoffs every year, let alone a Super Bowl. And if Josh Rosen's going to be a franchise quarterback, he's got to outplay Ryan Fitzpatrick. But safe bet for the Dolphins to go after him. Looking at the draft, they took Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle out of Clemson, in the first round. I like this pick. Christian Wilkins is a beast. He's athletic for his size. He weighs like 315, but he can run and chase down make tackles. You don't want, he can get in there and get sacks. Also, he's a run stopper. So, solid get for the Dolphins there in the first round. They go guard Michael Dieter out of Wisconsin in the third round. Trying to protect the quarterbacks. And in the seventh round, running back Myles Gaskin out of the Washington Huskies. This guy's a burner. He's speed for days. I give the Dolphins a C+ on their draft grade. I really like the Christian Wilkins. I think Gaskin's a safe bet. Other than that, I didn't see anything that impressed me too much. Nice to see the Dolphins lock down corner Xavier Howard, who is a stud, a beast. If you don't know who Xavier Howard is, you should. 5-year, $76 million deal. He's the highest paid corner in NFL history. Look out for, Xavier Howard. He's been doing it. If you haven't noticed it, that's on you. He's an interception machine. He's a great corner and a building block for the Dolphins. When they finally do get their franchise quarterback, he'll be a solid piece. Him and Christian Wilkins going forward. Looking at the roster, Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, Bryce Butler, receivers. You also got Albert Wilson. I'm higher on Albert Wilson and Kenny Stills than I am Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker came into the NFL with a lot of hype, a lot of expectations out of Louisville, where he did a lot of good things with Teddy Bridgewater, and he hasn't accomplished any of them in the NFL yet. And he's had Jay Cutler, Ryan Tannehill, guys like that. Just hasn't worked out for him. I don't expect him to immediately turn on a switch this year. I think Stills, Wilson, even Jakeem Grant, Bryce Butler are better options than Parker. So we'll see if Devontae can prove me wrong in 2019. Offensive line is okay, a little shaky if you ask me. Laramie Tunsil, nice to see him still doing his thing, but Dieter drafted to potentially take the starting spot from Chris Reed, although he's listed as the starter on the depth chart right now. Looking at Mike Gesicki, was a solid draft pick last year. He's a beast tight end. Dwayne Allen's on the pup list. Nick O'Leary, I like him out of Florida State. So you got Nick O'Leary and Mike Gesicki. Gesicki's the man. So he's a building block to, he's a guy to build around. Rosen and Fitzpatrick, if I'm making my prediction right now, I got Ryan Fitzpatrick starting week 1, out dueling Josh Rosen for the start. I do believe Rosen will get some starts this year, but I don't expect it to be a great year record-wise in Miami. Looking at the running backs, Kenyon Drake, he's awesome. Gotta love Kenyon Drake. I like him. Kalen Ballage, excellent pick last year. I don't know how the hell he fell the 4th round. If you watch Kalen Ballage at all in college, you know that he was special. And then Myles Gaskin is right now 3rd on the depth chart. So you got Ballage and Kenyon Drake. I like that two-headed monster. I can't complain about that. Looking at the defense, who the hell is on that defensive line? I know Tank Carradine, Akeem Spence, Adolphus Washington out of Ohio State. Okay, Christian Wilkins. I'm gonna keep doing that for some reason. But other than that, who's Charles Harris? Who's Jonathan Woodard? Who's Devon? Whatever that last name is. So linebackers: Kiko Alonso, Raekwon McMillan, Jerome Baker. I like those guys. Corners: Xavier Howard, Eric Rowe, Bobby McCain. Decent. Mika Fitzpatrick was a great draft pick last year. He should be a beast going forward. TJ McDonald's good addition. Rashad Jones, solid. So Dolphins have some pieces. Not the worst roster in football, honestly, but can they get it to translate to wins on the field? They're in a tough division. The Jets got better. The Bills got better. The Patriots are the Patriots. So I do think the Dolphins struggle. I don't think they do very well this year. I got them going. I think their ceiling is 5-11, and my prediction is I'm gonna go 4-12 for the Dolphins this year. Last in the division. They need to get that franchise quarterback. Those of you that are holding out hope that Josh Rosen's the guy, I say pump the brakes. If you didn't watch him at Arizona last year, I just don't think he's an NFL franchise quarterback. He could be a solid backup for somebody, but so they do lose Ryan Tannehill in a trade. He goes to the Titans. They lose guard Josh Sitton. I think they're rebuilding, and I do think that tank for Tua or tank for the next franchise quarterback still applies, and it's still in the back of the mind of management, coaching, players. So after a while, if you don't get out to a hot start, Miami, then it's going to be easy to kind of, let's throw Rosen out there. Let's throw the young guys out there, give them experience, lose some games, get a high draft pick for next year, get the quarterback we need. Like I said, Fitzpatrick outplaying Rosen so far. We'll see in training camp and preseason if that stays the same. But it's almost going to be a throwaway year here in Miami. And it's good for the coaching staff because it will allow patience, I believe, because everyone knows they need that franchise quarterback. And then it'll be time to look at the Dolphins, take them seriously when they get the quarterback of the future, the guy who can turn this team around. I'm just not buying Josh Rosen. That's my take. So we'll see how the Dolphins do in 2019, see if they can prove me wrong. But 4-12 is what I got them doing, and we'll see how the season goes. Hope you guys like this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Dolphin fans, if you don't like what I'm saying, leave a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong. And hopefully it'll go well. I can't wait for the season. Training camp starting up. Preseason around the corner. Can't wait for week 1. Hope you guys liked the episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. and have a great week, guys. Peace out.